All right, hey y'all. I'm here with Shaunna Hall. Hello, Shaunna. Welcome.
Hi. How you doing, Linda?
Hey, I'm good. I'm well.
Excellent.
Happy December. Oh, and we should do the shout out for Eric McFadden. Actually, it's his birthday today.
It's it is. It's Happy Birthday McFadden Day.
Yeah, we love you and happy birthday. But that's not why we're here, even though we
It's
love you.
it's
Uh, sh-
also World AIDS Day, and we'll get around
oh,
to that too.
awesome! I look forward to hearing about that and the Haight Street Arts. I mean, the Haight Street Music Center as well. So anyway, she was in this band behind me here for. She still is. She's still kind of here and there, right? You still,
True. Well, yeah, yeah. Once you're in the family, it's like being in the mob.
yeah, or on a spaceship.
You just can't get out, no matter
And
if you want to or not. But yeah,
I,
yeah. I was lucky
I
enough
love
to
that.
perform with them this year,
Mm,
and that was the first time I did like a full show with them in almost, I'd say, a good almost 10 years, because it was 2012 when I last toured with them. So it was a happy accident. I just went to New York as a fan and dying to see my family. And it was in that little window of time at the end of May and the beginning of June when we felt it was safe to travel.
mm.
So I took a red eye to New York. PFunk was playing in Central Park as part of the Summer Stage series, and I think it was also a Blue Note Jazz Festival show. And
Oh,
I had my guitar with me because you don't show up empty-handed at these things. And but I, usually you just sit and play a song, but they
mm.
were short on guitar players that day, and so George is like, "Hey, man, you know these songs." And there I was in my sweatpants and t-shirt, the same outfit I wore on the red eye, and just like got up and tried to remember the songs as best as I could. and
Man,
and
fun.
it was fun too. You know who was in the audience and on the stage that day? It was
Who-
George's fraternity brother, Ben Crump, attorney Ben Crump. He's
Wow.
the attorney behind the George Floyd. He
Oh,
George
wow. Thank
Floyd.
you. Thank
He
you.
was Trayvon Martin's attorney. He's Ahmaud Arbery's attorney. He's Tamira Rice's. All of the high profile, police shootings,
Mm,
just defiling black bodies. That he's been there and he's become very effective. He also actually is doing. He's defending audience members of the Houston
oh,
concert
wow.
fiasco.
Wow.
So
Cool. So
yeah,
you got to play to him. That's pretty
yeah, he
fun.
gave me a fist bump coming off when I finished Maggot Brain, and I went to take my break, and he goes, nice job, young lady.
Yeah.
He's a polite Southern boy.
Well, that's a cool story. All right, and then moving on, we will move on to this band here that you were in from the Four Non Blondes,
Oh
ladies and
yeah,
gentlemen.
a shout out to Jessica Tanzer who took that photo.
Cool.
In fact, I'll shout out her new tankhillcrew.com website where you can find some of the items have some of her photography on it. So it's she was a essential photographer in the 80s for our band, but really she was really focusing on the women queer
Yeah.
activist uh, uh, um, area, and was part of ACT UP, and did a lot of photography for clubs like the Box and like Page Hotel stuff. And it was very inclusive. It was men and women of all shades of people, and
Yeah.
one you can get a jigsaw puzzle of one of those pictures actually on tankhillcrew.com. Launched today.
There you
You heard
go.
it here first.
This is the plug. All right.
Jessica Tanzer. Yeah.
There it is. Right on. All right. So tell
What
us
else? What else? What
we're
else?
just going to start with you being from San Francisco, being from the Bay Area, I should say, and kind of just give us a little snippet of, coming here. And then you were just showing me this amazing footage of the Haight Street Art. I keep saying that Haight-Ashbury
Haight-Ashbury Music
Music
Center.
Center
Yeah. Oh, you're
with
right.
this
Yeah.
little pamphlet. But yeah, so you came up here as a musician around when, just sort of that structure, so people
Well,
know.
I was raised in Daly City,
Mhm.
and today's World AIDS Day, and that's significant to me because my junior high school music teacher his name was John Sims. I speak of him in the past tense because he died from HIV in 1984, I believe it was. But he was also the founder of the Gay and Lesbian Freedom Day Marching Band and the Gay Men's Chorus, the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus. It was the very first gay men's chorus in the world, and now there's over 200 gay men's choruses all over the world.
Yeah, I
And,
think I've seen them at the
like
Castro Theater once. Is
oh,
that? Yeah.
I'm sure you have. And what was really significant about that was this was in 1978, and gay people were really just not really accepted, and
Oh,
Proposition 8 was going on where they were trying to ban gay people from teaching school, and he was a school teacher. But he started the Freedom Day Marching Band to lead the Pride parades every year. So the first year they did that, my mom took me to the parade. I must have been, well, I was in junior high school, so I was whatever 13, 12, and then the Gay Men's Chorus. I saw them. Their very first show was, unfortunately, it was before they planned it. It was for the candlelight vigil on the steps of City Hall after the assassination of Harvey Milk and
Jesus,
Mayor Moscone. And so they came down there and they sang on the steps, and my mom took me to that show as well. John Sims was a guy who's a corn-fed guy from Michigan, I think he was from. He went to Indiana University, which was the same school my mom went to, IU Bloomington. So I bonded with him over that, and he also played brass, and I was a trumpet player. And I would talk to him about playing music. And I remember asking him once if I could play more lead parts. And he said, well, the lead player has to be the best player. You have to practice a little bit more. So over that summer, I went home and practiced. I had to take up practicing in the basement bathroom because like nobody wanted to hear me play. But I came back and I had improved so much that he gave me the first chair. And he also gave me this award, which hopefully you can see it.
Oh yeah, bring it up close. I want to see this. Let me change my view because I'm recording, and then I'll put you on speed. There we go.
I'm also going to change the camera here, so
cool. Yeah, I put you on so speaker view there is much better. In fact, we can just leave it like that. I'm going to get my face out of the picture. Now a little. Oh, you got that backwards thing again. It says it's backwards.
Let me turn it around.
I like your pigtails.
Is that better?
No.
Well,
anyway, it's an award of merit.
It's called the Most Improved 8th Grade Musician. It's the Most Improved 8th Grade Musician.
God, cool.
And it's my most coveted award I've ever received. And it sits in my studio to remind me that hard work pays off.
Yeah.
You can improve. You can always get better.
I love that. I love that. I love that message.
Practice a little bit. Yep. Just have to put in a little work.
That's right. So you want to speak any more about the Four Non-Blondes? Speaking of moving on and getting better and all that. Or?
Well, I can talk a little bit about that. But before I joined the Four Non-Blondes,
and thanks for the story about the award too. I didn't mean to sort of like push you into the Four Non-Blondes.
No, it's okay.
Okay, cool.
From after I graduated from high school, I moved into the Lower Haight, and I was just a few weeks after my 18th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
I had a place at the corner of Frederick and Cole, and someone also gave me a fake ID, so I went to the I-Beam all the time.
I was going to say I-Beam, baby.
Yeah, I went to Blue Bear School of Music. I didn't really get kicked out of my house over not going to college, but at the last second I was supposed to go to UC Santa Cruz, and in August I announced that I was planning to go to Blue Bear School of Music instead. And that led to a discussion that led me to moving out of the house. And so I moved into the Haight, and I bought a guitar from the Haight-Ashbury Music Center on layaway, a little red 66 Fender Mustang. And I had to go every week to make a payment. So I also had moved into the city I had a job at the record factory at 9th and Irving. So I had a job. And so I'd go
a cool job. Go
ahead. I'd been working for them in Daly City since I was in high school. So it's kind of cool. I was like, hey, I want to transfer to the,
I want to be over there.
Like I work for Exxon or the guys are executive. Like, yeah, I'd like to transfer offices.
Ah, well, we're glad you transferred.
It worked out, man.
Yeah.
It was great. And so I got on the Haight-Ashbury's mailing list, and back in those days they offered lessons. They were also, Masood had a big world music community. Some of the people that worked there were performers that played in, great bands. John Santos wrote like a little blurb in the edition about Carnival, which is this one.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it has like little lessons in it.
Can you do that one more time? I want to put you on speaker view there. Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's badass.
Yeah, and like they mailed it to you. You had to have snail mail, right?
Wow.
Mailing list, and then inside, you would have articles and ads for world music, and some of them had like musician one ads, and some of the prices are just like what, like there's let's see, used electric guitars. A Gibson SG will set you back $325.
Oh,
If you want something a little more like collectible, you can get a Gibson. Oh, this is a brand new one. It's an 82 335 for $799. But you could have bought a 56 ES 125. I mean, a 1966 Gibson ES 125. I mean, 175 for $495.
Oh,
like that's insane.
Lord.
I love looking at this stuff. It's like, these cool
yeah. It's kind of hard to see. I can't zoom in, but yeah, it just makes you remember how amazing everything was, man.
And there's like a little blurb by John Santos in the beginning up here. Like here's a big ad.
Oh yeah. Yeah, your audio's way back, but I love seeing that. That's great. Fucking badass. Thanks for saving that, Shaunna.
Yeah, man. I have a bunch.
Seriously. Oh yeah.
So I used to go hang out there. They would let me take the guitar in the practice room and play it a little bit, and then I'd say goodbye to it and be like, "I'll be back next week." And then when I got it, I used to sleep with that damn guitar. I'd put it in my bed. I swear to God. Yeah, Christy used to. By the time I got to the Four Non Blondes, or before Four Non Blondes, when we were playing, we actually were roommates, and she was.
Which one is she in here?
She's the one in the chair.
Okay, cool.
The bassist.
So people know.
I'm in Hyde Street Studios. I'm inside my studio.
Yeah, that's a nice segue. Okay, yeah,
DoggHouse Studio Productions, and we Hyde Street is of course iconic. Before it was Hyde Street, it was Wally Hyder. It became Hyde Street around 1981, which was the same time I moved into San Francisco. And Bonnie Hayes, my music songwriting teacher at Blue Bear, and her guitarist Paul Davis was my guitar teacher briefly. They used to really, like take care of me. They were my mentors for real. I mean, I used to tag along with those guys everywhere. I went to all their shows. Paul not only taught me how to play some amazing chords and how to bend a string right, but he taught me how to buy a guitar at Guitar Center without getting ripped off. He taught me about like, don't drink the well at the bar. It'll make you sick. Just, like you got to take care of your liver. So don't drink the rot gut, just practical advice. I've had my first martini at Abzamzam with him.
Oh, yay.
I got ushered in because I was with him, but I got to see three guys sit down and order long neck buds, and the bartender goes, "We don't serve long neck buds," and there's like three people drinking long neck buds at the bar. There's the door. It was such a weird. The guy was so weird. What was his name? Bruno. The guy that the bartender, the guy that ran Zam for all those years. I can't remember. I think it was Bruno.
Who was part of the family? That one? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when it was before it was sold, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like you would be lucky. I mean, he would just size you up and decide whether you were gonna stay in that bar or not. Like
Oh
he
yeah. If you ordered your drink wrong, you were kicked out for sure.
sometimes you like I said, if you I want 3 long neck buds, we don't serve long neck buds, but there's 3 on the bar, like being nursed at the moment. Like he was audacious, that guy. But anyway, so
Yeah.
Bonnie had a grand piano down here at Hyde Street Studios, and it was in Studio A, and she was given, I guess, trade time for the use of the piano. Interestingly enough, as time marched on, there was no need to have a grand piano in a studio any longer because you could get a soft, like a electronic version of that,
Hmm.
like a Korg M1 could emulate a pretty good grand piano. So at some point, it was like, hey, we're going to charge you rent to keep your piano here. But luckily for me, they were giving her trade time, and so she offered some time to me to record a demo. So Krista and I came down here and we bought a drum machine. I wish I could get to it. It's just right over there, but it's kind of blocked. It's a Roland 626 drum machine. I programmed all the drum parts and we recorded, I think, 5 songs. And we went by the name Cool and Unusual Punishment. And we played a few gigs. And Gary Kryman, who was an engineer and maintenance guy down here that worked on like Flippers albums and stuff, he made a DAT tape of our drum track. He ran the drum machine through the studio and made it all sound really good. And then he would come to our shows and play the drum track for us while we played the songs. And so we did a few shows, and we did a Christmas party here at Hyde Street Studios. I think it was one of our first gigs. Michael Ward really liked us. He's the guy that owns the place now.
Yeah.
So this
Wow.
building has been in my life. Like I keep coming back here. I've done projects with Eric McFadden Experience. We recorded our album here. I did
Happy birthday, Eric.
yeah, happy birthday, Eric McFadden. We did I did my first real like production with George Clinton here, doing the Gina Hall show theme song in Studio A, and we mixed Alien Love Stock. Like it just keeps coming back.
Ron Cat. Ron Cat.
I don't think Ron Cat.
Oh, you haven't had Ron Cat. Oh shit.
I didn't work with Ron Cat in Hyde Street Studios.
Okay, gotcha.
I worked with him in PFunk, and he was my tenant for a while when I had a house in Oakland. And
Apologies, I always just see you guys like 2 peas in a pod, but yeah, that's a lot of history right there,
I
man.
probably spent a little more time with Eric as far as like working side by side, but Ron Cat and I worked we lived together, and we worked in P-Funk, and then I played in Catdelic for a split second, but I got too busy. I couldn't really commit to
Well, here's the deal. Are you going to be at the thing? Everybody, all the Haight Street Voice listeners, are on December 18th out front of Love on Haight, Sonny's joint there on the corner of Haight and Masonic. She's going to have Ron Cat playing for the Funkadelic Christmas.
Have the first time hearing of it.
Okay, yeah. She just sent out the invite yesterday. I see her all the time, so
I didn't even know he was in town.
Oh yeah, it'll be December 18th, so I'm just kind of plugging that. But hopefully, I was thinking you were gonna, because it says and members of P-Funk, so I was thinking, oh, Shauna's gonna be at that. Well, hopefully, I'm not the one that is.
I don't know who.
I'm sure you're invited.
We'll find out. Yeah.
Shit, I think
I haven't really been playing a lot lately, so people don't really expect me to be part of these things, because I really had to pull back on live performances for about 6 years. The last I did it in 2 parts because I had some injuries. Like I left the road with P-Funk because I had a shoulder and head injury, and some other lots of shit went wrong. I clawed my way back out of it. I did the first professional thing I did after that was The Blues is a Woman, where it was a musical about the history of the blues, starting with Bessie Smith, because a lot of people think blues is a guy's guitar genre, but the first 10 years of blues, there were no male guitar players involved. It was all women singers that could, she could do 10 shows a day, selling them out, every day, like she was a superstar. And anyway, we did this musical. It went through the history it was called From Ma Rainey to Bonnie Raitt, and I played guitar in an ensemble of 5 women. It was written and produced by Pamela Rose. She got a grant to do this. She had an all-star band with Tammy Hall, was a musical director and piano player. Um, Different, just like a who's who of musicians backing her up. And Pat Wilder was the guitarist, who's a well-known blues guitar player from the Bay Area and was also one of my early running buddies as a musician, like pre Four Non Blondes. I used to do shows with her. We used to play blues for different occasions. But anyway, she got ill and they had to replace her a month before it went to concert, went
Damn.
to show. It was
Show.
at the Custom Made Theater, a little off Broadway, off of Union Square. We ran for, I think we did, I'm trying to think how many shows we played, like maybe 13 shows or something. It was weekends. They were all sold out. It was a very successful endeavor, but I had to come in and learn all these songs in just a couple of weeks. And,
I remember that. That was the last time I interviewed you for Haight Street
That's
Voice.
right,
You were
yeah.
living in Sausalito, or your house
Exactly,
dog
yeah.
sitting in.
Yeah, and I had just sort of like said, what do I want to do? I want to play blues. And then literally the next day, Tammy called me and said, can you do this? And I was like, wow, I haven't done anything professionally in like 5 years. I don't know if I'm ready. And I was like, well, if I could do anything, I can do blues, because that's my root. That's my most instinctual genre. And what when I first became a guitarist, I learned the basic blues stuff. And T-Bone Walker was my big, guitar inspiration. So yeah, that was kind of scary. But I don't know. I mean, Ron Cat doesn't live in San Francisco anymore, so we're just really not that close.
Right.
Eric doesn't live here either.
Excuse me.
We just he just came and did a session here in the studio, he and Kate Vargas. And
Yeah.
I can't wait to share that with everyone when the time comes. But I'll say that it's a classic from the All American Songbook, and it's just like, it was so beautiful. Like they're both just so fucking talented, and I was just like pinching myself, like, how did I manifest these guys? It's something I've been conceptualizing for a long time, and I've played it with my guitar, and I thought, it'd be really cool to have a vocalist that can really, capture this mood.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just a delight. They're just both amazing.
And then so you were talking about, and I guess we can move on from the Four Non Blondes unless you want to say, didn't want to close that door and talk about what you're doing. So like more recently, you were saying you got some cool video shit going on and all that.
While we're still on the subject, sort of, I'll just say this: like recently, it's come to my attention that some of my friends keep perpetuating some kind of, I don't know how to describe it, but there's this idea that I am claiming songwriting for Four Non Blondes' hit song "What's Up." And the only thing I lay claim to is the part that I wrote for myself. It's a guitar part. It's the melodic guitar line. So that plays throughout the song. That's my contribution to that song. So I just want to clear that up. I don't know why people seem to think that I have some, like, claim to authorship of the song. The song was pretty much written when I heard it as, it's just 4 basic chords, and then her beautiful lyrics and melody. And then I just wrote my part the first time we played it together. And then as a band, we kind of finished the arrangement and threw the background vocal parts in, and it was a song. But, it was, I'd say 90% finished the first time I heard it. I just added my part to it. So that's the story.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks. And I was just fantasizing on having audio of the actual notes in the background. If I had that kind of brain, I would be able to do that. But I hope a lot of people go back and listen to what the fuck you were just talking about, because it is really interesting.
Yeah, well, it's it's the guitar part on the song. The album was made. I participated in the recording of the record, and at a certain point in that process, I left. There's a really talented musician named Louis Matoyer who finished the album, and he basically played that part pretty much the same way I wrote it. I think he might have changed it, just like he left out one note during the vocal part, but otherwise it's essentially the same part I wrote. So that's all. I mean, I don't know why people feel the need to speak for me on that subject, and I think it's caused a lot of confusion and maybe some misunderstandings between the person who did write it and myself, which I, don't want to have happen. I like to keep things amicable and respectful. So
Well, like you were saying, didn't you say?
this is something I normally don't talk about. I don't
Right.
think I've ever gone on the record talking about this. So I just finally have, decided that, if I want the record to be correct, I have to stand up and say what it is from my own mouth, and nobody can try to.
Well, what I'm thinking is that you said that song got something over 1 billion now is the number you brought up when we were speaking earlier. And if there's the billion thinkles, billion brains on it, of course there's going to be like, well, that's this story. There's more, gossip to be had with that billion people. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
I suppose. Yeah. I just think that, gossip is a really
it's a horrible thing.
Disruptive thing. And
it is. It's bad. It's like, to me, it's like
people, for whatever reason, feel like they need to, like, I don't even know why I'm trying to even understand.
Let's move on. Okay, let's move on.
Why people do the things they do, but
jealousy, fear, no control, the usual psychological bullshit.
I think people mean well. You know what I mean? What I'm getting around to saying is I think people mean well.
Yeah.
But they say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Yeah. So here we are. Anyway. So yeah. So what else are we going to talk about?
Can you see this? So I just pulled up that one of you in 2008, Make Music, Not War, with the peace signs. I thought that was kind of groovy, and it kind of related to the Haight Street voice. And I was just poking around your website, and I said, yeah, I kind of want to hear what the heck's going on right here. And I dig your vest shirt, whatever you got on there. It's fucking badass.
That's from Camden Town.
It's awesome.
In London.
You still have that?
I do.
Oh,
hell yeah! In fact, I have a little box of some stage outfits that
is just that is. Ooh. And you took that photo, you were telling me, huh?
Yeah, I set up my laptop on the bed one morning, and this really pretty. I'm really into golden light from golden hour in the morning and the evening, and so I just grabbed the laptop, and it had the photo booth app, and just set it up to take automatic pictures, and just posed myself and got in the natural light
it's so
through the window. And that was in a house on Sanchez Street. Lisa Austin and her husband Gary Wirtz lived there, and they had one room. That one room, it's kind of a funny story because when I first started renting it, I was living in Barcelona at the time, and I needed a place locally to hang out for a few months. And so, Lisa's like, oh, we have a room. You can, I'll give it to you. It was dirt cheap because she knew I was going to be coming and going.
Yeah.
And then she made the same deal with Eric. So we basically we were living in the same room, but we didn't really know it.
Wow.
And then one time we were both there at the same time. And we realized that we were both sharing the same room. And it had this Chase lounge for a bed. It wasn't like there was even like, so we made up a pact that, okay, if we're home, if we're both home at the same time, whoever has a date gets the room. We're like, yeah, that's.
So you're both out there chasing, yeah.
Not at all.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I was in a relationship at the time. I shouldn't even say date. I should say if you had company. But yeah, it was kind of funny. But it was a great household. It was very creative, and that painting of Jimi Hendrix was on the wall and behind me, and it just kind
of I could zoom
inspired. Yeah, there's a big portrait of Jimmy smoking a cigarette, and I have a couple pictures where you can see him smoking, and then I'm smoking and blowing some smoke rings.
Well, I noticed that wow, that's a good story. He's right behind you, right there. I can see him. Oh, the mic's in the way. But that's all right. Yeah. So we got Jimmy. Hanging out, and you were doing smoke rings around Jimmy. That's a good.
Oh, that's my guitar there.
Yeah, but Jimmy's right below it. I can't see him now. I did earlier.
He's above it. Yeah, he's over my left shoulder.
Yeah.
The shoulder, the arm that's on the guitar.
Yeah.
And the gold frame, that's him in that portrait.
Got it.
The big gold frame behind.
Got it. It looks really cool.
I'm pretty sure it was a big exhibition Jim Marshall photo. And sadly, I think it got destroyed in a fire.
Oh, fuck.
But I do have some great pictures of it.
So moving forward, so then you really got pretty big into like production was pretty big for you for a while there, right? I mean, it still is. Like, it's kind of tangent into that. Maybe is that a good area to?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I got really interested in learning how to record and engineer, largely from my my experience recording the Four Non Blondes album, uh, the producer was kind of a, I don't know what to just. I'm
Take
like,
a deep breath.
let me stop myself right there.
And you certainly, that was a dead
But
stop, man.
but one of the things that happened that really like kind of screwed me up a lot was I didn't know enough about recording to really like ask for what I needed, or you know what I mean, like, and you just kind of have to assume that whatever they're telling you, you have to just take it for what it is because you don't know
Right,
any better.
right.
And so one of the biggest breakdowns I had when I was recording, other than being completely sober and having insomnia because I was supporting my roommate who was going through a, was getting clean over some stuff, and so I couldn't sleep because I stopped smoking weed. But
Oh man, that's hard.
but I didn't have my own monitor mix, and I remember asking for it, and he said we can't give you your own monitor mix. You have to share it with Linda. So the drummer, the bass player had a mix to share, and then me and Linda had a mix to share. And vocal and guitar are kind of in the same frequency range. So it was like, you know, I didn't feel like I could hear myself well enough to really get into playing. I
Right.
remember just having a hard time. So anyway, he's told us that we couldn't have another monitor mix because it wasn't in the budget. And later on, as I learned, like all you need is a power amp, which isn't expensive. And we
uh,
had like, we spent $1 million before the record was released. So
wow.
I was just like, really? Like that? I couldn't get a headphone mix because why? Like it just seemed so weird. And another thing that happened was I was once recording, and all these like business people from the label and our manager were invited to the studio, and I'd play the part and then he'd play it back and it would be out of time with the track.
Oh
And it was
fuck.
this simple
Oh,
rhythm
that was.
part.
Oh man.
So I kept doing it over and over again to the point where I was literally just anticipating, like I was playing it out of time to my ear, but
Oh.
getting it in time to the track, right?
That's brilliant.
And I think so, but
Yeah.
it just kind of it didn't put me in a good light because
No.
he was already questioning my abilities. But playing rhythm is not one of the issues that I ever had. And maybe imitating another player, like I'm not a session player. I can't just at will do whatever you want me to do. But
Right.
I do what I do, right?
Right. That's
I have my
thank
own
God.
style, which
We're glad you do.
exactly. So he kind of was setting me up to look bad, but basically it was there's two playback heads on a two-inch tape
Mm,
machine. There's
mm.
the record head and the playback head, and if you listen to the wrong one, it'll be out of sync with the what's being recorded and what's being played, because the recording is going to happen, it's going to play back a little bit after the actual performance.
Gotcha.
And so when he was playing it back, he just forgot to put it out of that monitor mode and put it into the other mode. I don't know if he was stoned or if he was doing it on purpose, but I had no idea. Like this was a concept that I never even knew about until when I started interning in studios and learning
Mm.
about recording. I was like, oh my God, that's what was going on that
Yeah.
day. Like I was listening to the wrong playback
God, that's
feed,
cool,
and
man.
I
That's
was like,
you know why? Because my not that's not why it's cool. It's fucking badass, but it's funny because Mix Magazine was the very first job I ever had in my life, and it was interesting to learn about like how fucking sound works and all that. It's interesting. Like
yeah,
our little not I shouldn't say female, but your brain wanting to understand what's the science of sound? Like how is that moving around? Is it going through a tube and that whole world? So
yeah. And I just also wanted to be able to communicate. Like I was like, the next time I go to make a record, I want to understand what's happening,
yeah,
so that if I want something different, I'll know how to do that. I won't be at the complete mercy of somebody who may
right,
not have my best interest at
right,
heart.
right.
And speaking of Mixed Magazine, that same guy like had he my lawyer thought I should sue him, some of the things he
Ooh,
wrote. But anyway, or
ooh,
said about my professionalism. But see,
damn.
in retrospect, I'm like, wow, like why I don't know. Things happen for a reason. I mean,
Yeah,
I left the band because it was just obvious to me that I was in the wrong place. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I did not feel, just something was off about the whole thing. And you know, the way things worked out, they worked out just fine. You know what I mean? Like, I don't regret any, like, leaving the band or having been fired publicly or whatever. You know, there's two
Right.
sides to every story, right? But
Right.
the point is that, like,
It got you interested in
it got me
technology.
interested in technology, and
Yeah.
so I got a little started with a 4-track, and then moved on from there. I got a computer and got the very first like Master Tracks Pro, which preceded Pro Tools, and just, you know, basically, luckily for me, it kind of coincided with a getting income from Four Non Blondes, because I had a lot of publishing, and I also, you know, negotiated artist royalties for my participation in the record, no matter what, you know, I guess there were other people involved, but I was too, right? So I get a little bit of artist royalties, and I had a bunch of free time, and
Yeah.
so I decided it just happened to coincide with this technology explosion in the Bay Area. I
Mhm.
knew people that were working for these companies, so I could get information, I could learn, and I just remember, you know, it's funny. I remember having this aha moment where, because this would have been like maybe 94,
Okay.
95 probably when I started. Yeah, because it was after Alcohol of Fame. Steve Spingola, our singer, worked for Mac Week magazine. I started going to Mac World, the
Mm-hmm.
convention,
Mm-hmm.
and there they would have these demonstrations of, you know, Cubase and Sound Vision, and these, like, you know, these early, the very first digital workstations. There was
Sorry, I can't geek out with you, but
there
go
was
ahead.
Macromedia stuff, and so these are all the forefront of the tools that we have today, and Mastertrax Pro was the Pro Tools version. So I basically just bought a computer and holed up in my garage for a couple of years and just started teaching myself and
Where were
buying.
you where were you living at this point? You weren't in the Haight anymore.
No, by now I was living. Krista and got a house in the area is called Westwood Highlands. It's right off of Monterey Boulevard,
Oh,
right
okay.
before you go into St. Francis Wood, and at the foothills of Mount Davidson.
Got
And
it.
it's a
So
pretty
it's like
big house
Silver
here.
Avenue? No, that's way up. Is that right?
No, no, no,
No,
no, no, no.
no.
This is right next to
Sir Francis Woods. I do know where that
yeah,
is. Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
yeah,
I
yeah.
got you.
I mean, yeah, just like a couple blocks over from St. Francis Woods.
I have it.
You
Got
know,
it.
and so I eventually moved to a different house in the same neighborhood and built a recording studio in the garage.
Awesome.
And then I moved out of there and bought a place in Oakland and built a recording studio in the backyard there. And yeah, I I have had many studios.
You
So yeah,
have.
so at this point I was in Westwood Highlands. In fact, that's when I met Eric. He would come over to my house, and I'd have, you know, like here I'd have guitars hanging on the
Mhm.
walls, and, you know, my thing, and I have cool posters everywhere. And he would come and hang out. Melanie Law, a singer, would brought him over the first time. He had just moved up from New Mexico, and he would just come and kick it. And he would always invite me to shows, and I'd never show up because I was always in the studio waiting for some fucking file to render, or, you know, I mean, it was all trial by error. Sometimes it would take days to figure shit out. You know, there was no school, there's no YouTube videos for any, you know what I mean? Like, that
Right.
didn't even exist yet. You know,
Yeah.
I had just gotten the floppy disk from AOL in the mail. You know what I mean? Like,
In the mail.
that's the
Yeah.
page we're on right now, you know? But going to Macworld, and then also I realized that there's a store called Computers and Music, and Bananas at Large, a little more
Mhm.
pro oriented. They had salesmen that were very patient, so I could go into a store and just be like, I'm thinking about buying this app, like, how does it work? And they would literally just teach me how it worked.
Yeah.
So and then, you know, I'd run home and, you know, get on my gear and, you know, try to figure it out. And I started buying cameras and things. So yeah, so that's kind of how it started. And I just, you know, I had a guitar player in my first band, the Crash Puppies, who let me mess around with his 4-track and his drum machine. That really got, you know, that's where I got bit by the bug. Prior to that, like, I used to take a tape recorder and a boombox and bounce parts. I'd build a song. Like, if I wanted to, I'd write a song, I'd put the guitar part and sing it, and then I'd like add a harmony and maybe add a little guitar lick or something, and maybe put a tambourine on it. But I'd play it, then record it on the boombox, then play it, you know, put the tape over there, you know, record another part. Like, that's the only way you could do it back then if you didn't have money.
Yeah.
So getting this 4-track, it was like magic. It was like, oh, I can
Yeah.
just put these parts in and I can mix them after the fact. And I would go to his house while he was at work and just hang out there. And Bonnie Hayes also had a 4-track component to her songwriting class to teach people how to use the 4-track as well. So that was my early support. But really, it was like having that free time. And oh, yeah, what I was going to say is so I had this aha moment. Like, do you remember in seeing Star Wars for the first time?
Yeah.
And you go, so this is this is set in the future, right? So they show the bar where the proletariat are, right?
Mhm.
And in my eyes, the only thing separating those people from the stormtroopers and the guys flying around was technology. And I was like, I don't want to be the guys I don't want to be the proletariat. I want to move on
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
with the world,
Got
because
it.
I felt it coming. I was
Yeah.
like, there's
Yeah.
going to be a big shift, and I don't want to get left out. So I made it my business, because prior to that, I had no interest in learning computers.
Yeah,
Both
but I
my
gotta say
parents.
something. I gotta stop. That's that bar scene. The animals are playing. They're playing instruments. So music was involved at that bar. Remember, that was the whole thing
Well,
of that.
the musician part was cool, but
Yeah,
the people sitting around that were all made out to just be idiots and
yeah,
morons
yeah,
and
yeah. You were
slovenly
like, "Let's get on
people.
the ship and let's get out of here." Anyway,
I'm
so
just
go
like,
ahead.
I don't want to, I don't want to be
Speaking
left
of getting on
behind.
spaceships, I got to interrupt you again because it's 10 to 5, and you said you got to be somewhere at 5:30. So if you want to
Yeah.
show us some of the video thing that you're,
Oh yeah, that's
yeah,
true, huh? I do have
want to
a.
want to
I'm in.
move in
I
there.
I became a IATSE journeyman in December 2019, and
Ooh.
that's the Theatrical Stage Workers Union here. And I'm proud to say that I have been appointed to the DEI committee for our union, our local union, Local 16. And that's pretty significant if you understand, like, unions are perceived as closed circles,
Mhm.
predominantly white male. And our union really wants to, make sure that there's equity
Cool.
and access and diversity in our union to make it reflect our community, and
Mm.
just, we're going to be a stronger. So anyway, I have a union meeting at 5:30, so I could be a little bit late for it, but
All right, I just wanted to just keep us on.
it's also a Zoom meeting, so I don't have to go anywhere. I just have to jump on there.
Oh, I thought you actually had to be. Okay, go ahead. Sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt you. I just wanted to
Oh,
keep you.
it's
Yeah.
okay. No,
Yeah.
thank you. I appreciate that, because I didn't even I haven't seen a clock in about an hour.
It's
But
beautiful.
so
Beautiful
what was
thing.
I gonna say? So yeah, so I made this. I started getting into producing music. Now I do a lot of live production as
Mm.
a union member, but I got into making music, and right after I moved to Spain, I got the first M-Box, which allowed people to use Pro Tools with laptops, and gave access. It gave you, you could record anywhere and then take that and interface it into any pro studio and build on it. And
Mhm.
that happened right around the time I started touring with George Clinton. In fact, that was one of the reasons they're like, hey man, you mean we can record in the bus or the hotel? They're like, get on the bus. So that was like in Amsterdam, and I never got off. But anyway,
Oh, that sounds like
that
Haight-Ashbury material right there. Go ahead.
yeah, it was awesome. And during that first few years, I accumulated a lot of recordings and performances with the cooperation of my bandmates. We'd have a lot of time off. And in fact, it got to the point where there's probably like 3 of us. I know Rico and Steve and me, we all would bring out our rigs, and on our days off, we'd have studios set up in our rooms. And so it was like a little mobile Motown or something, like where the band members and crew members, because all the crew pretty much played music too, would walk around, and people would be writing in one room and recording a part over here, or someone come in and be like, hey, I got an idea for that song, can I
It's
put
so
something on
groovy.
it?
That's just groovy.
It was
Yeah.
so amazing. And
Yeah.
so I did one song called Second Wind, and it appears on my album that I released under the name Electrofunkadelica, which is my producer's name. I have a little card.
Uh, yeah.
Electrofunkadelica.
It's really little.
Yeah. and and so yeah, I recorded this song called Second Wind. It was written by me. I wrote the track, and this a singer named Robert excuse me, Robert Johnson, who went by the name of Peanut. He was actually a vocalist in Bootsy's Rubber Band, and then he toured with PFunk for until he pretty much passed away.
Mm,
And but anyway, he had already written a song, and it just fit with mine perfectly.
yeah.
So he did a demo, and then I got Ron Cat to put a real, like, we produced it, and Jerome Rogers played Moog on it, and I did the track. And there's another guy, Mark Munoz, is playing the rhythm guitar. So I put that out in 2006, I think,
Mm.
and then in 2015 or 16, I started messing around with this app with Ableton Live that lets you bring visuals into the app and have the visuals and the audio kind of working together. And in this case, um, the visuals are being some the effects on the visuals are being generated by live sound. So what
Oh,
I did was I took the different individual tracks, like the guitar, the vocal, and was able to feed them through this effect, and divided it up like highs, mids, and lows. And
yeah.
so, like, whenever a guitar plays, a certain thing will happen. Whenever a voice plays, something different. And so, this honestly is just somewhat of an experiment. Like, I wouldn't call this finished, but it certainly demonstrates the concept. And it
Yeah.
also, I remixed the song. I slowed down the vocal, but I speeded up the tempo. So it's a kind of a remix from the second
So
wind.
let me repeat that back and see if I got you right. It's almost like the movement that they're doing for whatever that is when they have the dots and it's the actual person moving around. You're trying to recreate the movement via the movement of the note, right?
Well,
Kind of.
this is actually not the same in that, like, it's funny you should bring that up, because now they have that thing called alter ego.
I have no idea. I was, I'm none of this technology. This is
Well,
all new.
there's a new reality music search show called Alter Ego. And
Okay.
so what it allows people to do, it's kind of sad, because you have talented people, but they can't ever get a deal because they don't look the part.
Yeah.
So what this allows them to do is make their an avatar of an
Yeah.
alter persona, and then they have the tracking devices on them, and they can move, and that comes out as I think it's a fucking hologram. I
Yeah.
know it's a video or whatever. So anyway, they can become this whole another persona. Now I was trying to get people to do that like years ago. I even have NDAs signed by like Roger McNamee explaining that. Nobody
Wow.
could understand what the fuck I was trying to do. I'm happy somebody figured it out. But what I'm doing is different. It's just random visual effects, like, just like if you had a guitar and you played it and there was a delay, that's an effect that changes the music to be like wah wah wah, instead of just. So these are, just think of these as audio effects for visuals.
Got
and
it.
and so when the sound plays, it makes the video do something.
Right.
so so
That's exactly what I thought. Okay, perfect.
so yeah, so this is called Second Wind, and it's and then, oh yeah, and I gotta say, at the end of this, it goes into this really long outro, and there's this mantra, and he says, music is like a magic dust in my mind. And it is a sample of Steve Wozniak, who was given a keynote breakfast speech at NAMM one year. And I had my iPhone, I recorded some of it, and I happened to catch him telling this story about how, he lives in Santa Clara. He's like a second grade school teacher or something. And he likes to go out on, like a weekend and go to a dive bar, and, $10 for 5 bands or whatever. And he'll just go in and maybe have a glass of wine. And he likes to just watch how the music has an effect on people. And he
Wow.
says, it's like a magic dust in my mind. Music makes people fall in love. And he's like, and he likes to watch, he'll see like a couple, and he'll just kind of see them sort of, the music just brings them closer together. So I captured it, and I somehow, when I made the loop, it said, music is like a magic dust in my mind. Music is like a magic dust in my mind. So I just looped that around at the end, and so that's what's going on at the end there.
Wow. I had to write that down, dude. That's woo.
Isn't that
Woo.
cool?
Whoa.
And I found out, like, at Burning Man, it's all about the dust, and so I was like, oh, I got to make a Burning Man mix using this part. So this might be it. Maybe this is as far as I'm going to get, but But anyway,
Thanks for.
I'm hoping to do this type of stuff live. This is just a video of it. I need a little slightly faster, more powerful computer to pull this.
No worries, man. I just want to thank you while you're looking for being here, dude. I loved having you here, and it's thanks for being, part of Haight Street Voice.
Pleasure, yeah. And
Yeah.
I'll play this, and then we'll talk about a few last things I want to share with you. Some things that are coming up for
Whatever you
me,
want.
and some projects that I'm pretty excited about, and then well, I'll see you at the party on Friday.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess I'm not even. Well, we'll just get it started. You tell me if there's anything wrong.
Yeah.
And I'll try to make it into a full screen situation. So there you go.
And what I could do, what I can do is just stop it. I'm going to press pause here, and when you figure it out, I'll just say unpause. Right? Does that sound about right, or should I let you go? I'll just keep.
No, you can go ahead.
I'm going to pause.
I want to see if I can.
And we're back. She figured it out super fast, kids. So here we are.
All right, here we go.
Not that I had any doubt. I just was kind of maybe projecting.
After the physical exhaustion and the mental exhaustion too, you're gonna feel down. But if you hang around, your strength goes right back to you. I got my second wind. I got my second wind. Second wind. I'm ready to do it again. I got my second wind. I got my second wind. I got my second wind. I'm ready to go again. Recovery is on me. A brand new surge of energy. Just about the time your mind wants to resign. Telling you to stop because you're way too far behind. Don't you listen to your mind? Telling you to resign. Listen to your heart. We're gonna make it a brand new start, yeah. I got my second wind. I got my second wind. Second wind. I'm ready to do it again. I got my second wind. I got my second wind. I got my second wind. I'm ready to go again. I will take you all the way there. Those quick short bumps of air. You can do what you wanna do. Yeah, your second wind will see you through. Yeah. I got my second wind. I got my second wind. Second wind. I'm ready to do it again. I got my second wind. I got my second wind. I got my second wind. I'm ready to do it again. I got my second wind. I got my second wind. I got my second wind. Second wind. I'm ready to do it again. I got my second wind. I got my second wind. I got my second wind. I'm ready to go again. Said I got my second wind. If you got it. Said I got
Holy
go.
shit.
Shout out to Sarah Fritz who drew the marijuana lady. Yeah, follow her on Instagram. She goes by the name of Chicasso.
Shit, man.
Chicasso is her handle on
Damn.
Instagram. But yeah, pretty cool, huh? It's pretty psychedelic.
It is so psychedelic, but it's also the message about, got my second wind is totally speaks to me after like, just getting older, and also the COVID thing. And I'm like, let's get her done now.
Yeah. It is
So,
a very, I really, it's a very inspiring song. My
Yeah.
mom is a music therapist, and when she does workshops, she uses that for the like the seventh inning stretch. She likes to give people nutter butter peanut butter
Yeah,
cookie sandwiches.
yeah.
That's her thing.
Yeah,
So
I
she'll
love
pass
those.
those out and get everybody to get up and dance to this song to get them going again for the for
Oh,
close
that's
the workshops.
beautiful.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think in fact the other day I called and she was listening to this song and I was like, it just makes me. She's a music therapist and she's using my music, like I mean,
That's
she usually
awesome.
uses classical music, so to me it's a big deal.
Yeah. Wow. Thanks for that ride, man. So yeah, so that was wow.
I'm glad you liked it.
I don't even know.
I've never
it's-
shared that with anyone before publicly. So, in fact, that was made, I think, in 2016.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I did that in 2016.
Oh, I thought this was hot off the press, dude.
No, I was gonna do something fresher, but I couldn't. I just couldn't pull it off.
Damn.
I'm just getting my new studio together. So, but I mean, that's where my head is, and that's what I'm going to be doing. That's the work I'm trying
Dig.
to.
It's like brain massages. It was a brain massage.
I love it. I love it. It's pretty neat. I don't know. There's something really organic about it. Even though it's totally like, you know what I mean? It's digital and it's automated and whatever, but it's also reacting to things that are happening that are like organically played, like it's a real guitar. It's a real Moog.
The sound and the visual are actually like dancing with each other.
Yeah, exactly. And that's I called it synesthesia. And there are people that are kind of using that term now for their version of, using visuals with audio. But that was the whole concept is to be able to express something in sound and vision at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like one note, if I play a wah wah pedal, I want the visual to go wah 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 too, so, or whatever, and so that, that it's like you after a while, you were able to sort of, like, you heard when you heard the bass, you saw a certain thing. And so that's the goal. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. I don't want to just.
It felt like this though. It felt like I'm looking at. That's why this is my mycelium underneath the ground. It had that same groove where it's like things are moving, but these colors are coming out of it. It's like music. It's really, it's incredible and good for you. And keep going on that one, Shaunna. And so,
thank you. I really appreciate that, Linda.
Yeah, and
means a lot.
Thanks for doing the show and keep doing. Well, we got about I don't know 5-ish minutes, 10 minutes. I was trying to keep you on schedule.
Let me tell you quickly. I'm here at Hyde Street. I put together a little music space. It's really like a songwriting studio, but I can do I can track I track guitar with Eric the other night and vocals with Kate. But I have a little electronic drum kit. It's perfect for writing music. Let me see if I can turn on this other camera and show you.
Cool.
Real quick, the space, because I'm very proud of it. I had to put it all together myself over COVID. Well, shout out to Tim.
Oh yeah, there it is. Oh yeah.
Shout out to Tim, my good friend, because he couldn't have done it without him.
Badass.
These are my E-drums. So the E-drums, they interface with the computer, so I could play any drum kit that I want to hear. It could be like, it can sound like a John Bottom's drum set, or it can sound like a 808 hip hop, with the big booming.
Or Charlie Watts.
It could, whatever kind of drum sound I want, I could just call it up and play it.
That's badass, yeah.
And I learned how to play drums over COVID, basically. Like my dad's a drummer, was a drummer. I could sit at a kit and play, but I've never really had a place to practice. And so literally like in less than a year, I'm a drummer now. Like I can really play.
I'm digging how
It's
groovy it looks in
cool.
the background too. It just all looks
Thanks.
very groovy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's beautiful artwork by my
Yeah.
my friend Kevin Woodson.
Yeah, it fits
My
right in.
guitars. And then this is over there is the guitar world. See?
Wow.
It's hard. There's a big ring light facing us, but you can see the amps, right?
I thought it was the spaceship coming in.
it is. But yeah, that's the boogie amps and
it just looks so cozy. Uh-oh. Are you alive? Uh-oh. What happened? Well, it's a groovy shot though, right there. That freeze frame is perfect. What the fuck? That was awesome.
That was pretty special.
That was awesome.
Special. That was like Zoom blooper reel fodder for you.
Well, no, it was actually the thing about motion and shit happening. So, and you're walking around and things fucking just happened organically.
That's the guitar.
Okay.
Over there with my Mesa amp and some pedals and stuff. And, you know, it's just a nice little workspace. And so I'll be doing a lot more producing. I'm expecting to be doing some work with Pat Wilder. We're going to do some stuff. And, you know, like I said, Kate and Eric came in,
Right.
did some stuff. And
So like if people see, when they see this shit, how would they get a hold of you or whatever? Or how would?
Gosh, that's a really good question. My website should be updated at some point sooner than later, but you know.
Right, I got you.
You know, I have my what do you call it?
I'm seeing your screen right now, your phone screen. Go ahead.
Thanks. Yeah, I was switching back. My email address is dogbutt with 2 G's and 2 T's at AOL.com. So DOGGBUTT at AOL.com. I call this DoggHouse Production Studios. I'm also really getting into immersive stuff. This is a 5.1 studio with that setup, and I'm about to add some overhead speakers. I did some classes with Electrofunkadelica and studied their live mixing immersive system called Lisa Technology, and it's amazing object-based mixing. And in this room, I'm going to have Dolby Atmos as well to do Atmos for music, but I'm just really into the immersive stuff. And I mean, imagine combining an immersive sound environment with that visual shit, right? That you just saw. Mm-hmm. Like that's the ultimate game plan.
Yeah.
In the short term, and I have to give shout out to like Sound Image and my buddies Vince and George Edwards. They let me go and hang out down at their shop in Hayward during COVID, and I got to mess around with the Avid S6L console and, you know, get all my chops together to be able to work in that world, in that immersive world. And I just really got into that whole headspace and working with like 360 cameras and stuff, like and 360 microphones. It's like the first time I heard myself, I did a mix in a 23.1 studio down in the Electrofunkadelica headquarters down in LA, and it's like a state-of-the-art world-class studio. In fact, the guy that works in there has won a Grammy for his work there. But hearing it back, like they gave me this multi-track of Imagine Dragons doing Believer, and there's a lot of moving parts to it. So I got to sit there and mix it however I wanted in this 23.1 system, 5 speakers on the ceiling, 17 going around, and then a big sub in the back. And when I heard it played back, like in the image that I had it in my head, and it just came out, like it made me choke up. I got teary-eyed. The experience was so visceral. I really can't say enough about how when it's presented and done right, you know, that immersive 360 sound is really powerful. So, you know, you'll be seeing more of that coming onto the market right now. Tidal and other places have it, and also you know, you can use earbuds to listen to stuff. But I'm just saying, like, there's also a lot of bad stuff out there, so you got to give it a chance.
Well, you know, when I was watching it, I thought of you know, you were talking about the what'd you call it, the marijuana lady that was dancing around and everything. So you know what it's like? It's like Electric Ladyland.
Yeah,
She's
yeah, it is. That's cool.
right?
Yeah,
Because I was
yeah.
definitely, I saw the marijuana, yeah, the marijuana goddess is like, oh wow, she's getting her second wind. All right, cool.
Yeah, no, she's we call her Mary Jane Greenleaf.
That's great. On the credits, yeah.
Well, me and my bandmates, we made like she became an icon for like me and Sativa and Kendra. Sativa did she would always do the rap about weed during the P-Funk shows, and I did this kind of mashup with Sweetly from Black Sabbath and
Oh shit.
Atomic
Yeah.
Dog and some other things, and she did that rap in the middle of it. We bonded over the love of weed, and this became like a kind of an image that would we liked the alias Mary Jane Greenleaf, as like actually honestly
Sophisticated.
a friend of a friend's a friend's boyfriend's mother, is her real name was Mary Jane Greenleaf, and she was like a housewife from Nebraska and had no idea what her name meant. You know what I mean?
In
I
an
just thought that was
alternate,
the most
in an alternate universe.
yeah,
or,
I just thought
yeah.
that was the most
Yeah.
amazing thing, so I adopted that moniker and applied it to this
Well
this
done.
image. But so yeah, going back to what I'm going to be doing in the short term is I just got invited to help with the recording of the music that's going to go in a documentary about here, let me pull it up right quick so I don't
Sure.
make a dumb mistake.
It's 5:14, just so you know.
Thank
Keep
you.
Yeah.
This will be perfect timing. Let's see if I can find my
I'm like the white rabbit for you, keeping time.
somebody has to do
Running in the room going, it's 12:15.
somebody has
You
to
just
do
need a
it.
rabbit to follow you around with a clock.
Wouldn't that be nice? No, seriously, that would be so
Right, well,
so
it's a good job. Sorry.
no, it's okay. I'm reacting to my computer that's running super slow. I need a new computer. I'm gonna
Oh,
get one. I just can't have.
it's on its way.
I just can't seem to decide
Yeah,
what to get.
that's
I
right.
guess maybe
Hey,
'cause I can't
after
afford
that
it.
eclipse, after the eclipse on Friday, you'll know exactly what you want.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, it's
Okay.
in Sagittarius. Yeah,
I am
it's a,
sort of. Yeah, they are very decisive, aren't they?
yeah,
I think something's been telling me to hold off. So I'm sure
yeah.
there's information that I need before I make that decision.
That's what the universe is saying.
Yeah. Well, there's a foundation. It's called QWOCMAP, and it's like a queer women of color media like alliance where they present and teach and try to foster media, filmmaking, journalism, documentary making. I don't know where they are.
Wow,
They're in San Francisco,
damn.
and it was founded by this woman named Madeline Lim, I'm sorry, Madeline, Madeline Lim, and she's making this documentary about this woman. She's from San Francisco. Her name is Jewel Gomez. She was like a Renaissance woman. She was an author.
Mm.
She was one of the founders of GLAAD, which is
Oh,
the organization, and
yeah.
just like she's done so many things. I can't even let me see if I could. She had a book called The Gilda Stories, and it was like this vampire love story that predated all Twilight and The Passage, and
Oh,
she,
yeah.
like, kind of birthed that genre,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
not that many people know that. And let's see what
Yeah.
else.
Kind of like Anne Rice.
Yeah, she wrote a three-cycle play, which involves James Baldwin in the 50s, and
Oh, shit.
just it's one's called Waiting for Giovanni, and one is called Leaving the Blues. But anyway, it just goes on and on and on, right? And so they're doing a documentary about her, and the woman that's going to record the music is this woman named Melanie Demore, and she is this amazing performing artist that she calls herself a vocalist activist. So a lot of her work she does is activism in some form, but it's also like therapeutic. And she works with these sticks that they're called
Wow.
Gullum sticks, and they're from like when slaves were all thrown together and nobody spoke the same language. They used these sticks to communicate amongst each other, but also from distances, like
Wow.
slaves, especially like, underground railroad times and stuff. Like you could, communicate using it's sort of like drums, but they're literally like just sticks,
Right.
that you
Got it.
pound on the ground
Yeah.
and you stomp your feet. And anyway, and then she vocalizes and she'll get a room full of people and she'll, be a guest at a corporate dinner, and she'll get these people to have a lesson in unity and self-expression. And
Damn.
she'll get people to do these sing parts, clap their hands and stomp their feet in these different rhythms, and then get them all to do it together. And it's like the most amazing, like polyrhythmic, just like mantra-esque, like you just kind of get in this trance
Damn. Sounds
state.
like the thing you just showed me, it showed me like your work. It's a
I
lot
guess
like
it's
that.
something like that on a different level, but yeah,
Right.
it's transformative.
Yeah.
I guess that's the common thing.
Like-
The thing I did was transformative. It took you to a different place,
Right.
and that's what her work does too.
Yeah.
And it's also a lesson, and it, sometimes it has social messages or things like that. But anyway, I'm really excited. She's gonna come in, and we're gonna do it at a studio, and she's apparently going to improvise a lot of the music that will be in the film. So
Yeah. What I'm hearing is that it catches people's attention is what it does. She's just by this natural sound thing. It's attracting people and being able to like orchestrate it.
yeah, and that's one aspect of her work. She also sings and plays acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
And can just do a regular song as well, and she has a really beautiful low voice, but can also reach up into higher registers. And
So she found you, or you
close.
found her, or what? How'd that all happen?
No, the filmmakers, I believe it's the sound recorder. I'm not 100% sure.
That's okay.
But I was contacted by
Cool.
Ruth, who knows my best friend Lynn, my best friend who I don't know her name. My best friend Lucy Faulkner, who has a film company called Serendipity Films. She and her partner Don Logston make documentaries, and so a colleague of theirs contacted me and asked me if I was interested in doing this project, because they decided they didn't want to just put up a Zoom recorder and record. They wanted to actually try to make it music.
Beautiful.
So that's, and I'm really like, I'm really excited about it. You know what I mean? I think it's an amazing, I mean, it's, a low budget documentary, as they all are, but I think it's a really important story that's being told. I think that the people that are doing the storytelling are really like worthy of, donating time and energy.
Yeah.
And I think that I just think I'm really happy.
Hey,
to be a
I
part of
mean,
it,
hopefully, I'd like to think that maybe Haight Street Voice, if they know people that read it, know that you're saying that, and then people that are in a position to actually add to what you're saying there's a lack of, that would be cool.
Yeah, the movie's called Jewel, Jewelle, which is the first name of the woman that it's about, Jewel Gomez.
Cool.
So look out for Jewel.
What's the projected like, what do you think? Like, you don't know. Do you know
Well,
the projection?
their website, which is an acronym is QWOCMAP.org. That website says 2022.
Cool.
So that's
all
coming
right.
up.
All right. Lots to do in 2022.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I think I told you I was also I was appointed to the DEI committee of my IATSE Local 16. I don't know if I said that in the broadcast, but I just want to say that.
Yeah, say it again.
I'm a journeyman member, and I'm happy to say that we're doing that work that needs to be done to make our union more diverse and equitable, as far as people having access to doing that kind of work and being part of a union like ours, which really is it's not a bad thing to be a part of a labor union, especially in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
I laugh like nervously.
Yeah. I mean, a very dear friend of mine works for the port of, San Francisco. He's in the union, and it's a good thing,
He has a good life as a result.
Yeah, and he's worked his ass off in. I mean, he's
Yeah.
be 55 or whatever, It's served him well, is my point.
Yeah. I started doing work for the union, I don't know, like in the early 2000s, just part-time. But
It's-
when I couldn't tour anymore, that was something I've decided to fall back on, and it's really served me well. Plus, I love, I mean, gosh, one of my favorite shows I ever did. Hey, can you go to the Masonic? It's this benefit for it's the G8 Summit thing. And I'm like, okay. It's the Pathway to Paris. Patti Smith,
Oh, shit.
Lee, Bob Weir. Like, I'm setting all their gear up for them. It's a low budget thing. They don't have their crews. Tony Shanahan coming up
God.
saying, "Hey, how you do?" Like, I'm just like, am I? Like,
Ah.
I can't believe I'm helping these people like, do their, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, wow, because I get off on helping people and being in a
Yeah.
service position.
Yeah.
And that was one of those moments where you're like, yeah, I love what I do. This is so fucking amazing.
Yeah. When we love what you're doing, Shaunna Hall.
Well, thank you for inviting me. We've known each other for a long time. We go way back. I have to give shout out to Brian Rohan. I think that somehow he brought us back together after not really seeing each other. For a
Yeah.
long
In fact,
time.
that's a good. Keep talking. I got a little.
Boy, he was such a special person to me, and so many others. Like there's not going to be another Brian.
Oh shit! No, there's you at his. That's you at his wonderful wake up there in Nicasio. That was awesome.
A celebration of life.
It was a celebration of life, man.
I've got my little tiny crystal warthog sitting on the shelf over there.
Oh man, and I got my big, huge metal one that I grabbed. Who does
He's
that?
a special person, and none of this stuff I'm talking about right now, I don't think I could be doing because I earned a lot of money from the record deal that he got me, that he negotiated with our manager Katrina Sardovsky, who I also have to shout out to. And they made sure that we were gonna be compensated and we weren't gonna get ripped off by at least not by the
I'll tell you what. I mean, he's the only reason that I have this magazine behind me, Shaunna. I mean, Shaunna, seriously, like, he was one of the.
thing.
That was his thing. Is he? Like, you got to check this out. I'm going to get out of the way. This is the cover. Because it'll already be out, but that's you. Can you see yourself in the back underneath the tree? Like everybody that's in the magazine.
I'm gonna walk closer.
You're on there. You're right there. That's you. So everybody that's in the magazine is on it. So you made the cover, even though you're not in the magazine. You're going to be on Haight Street Voice somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, you can, you asked me earlier about stuff. I think there's also, I'm on Instagram too. I almost forgot.
Yeah,
plug
away.
That type of shit. Instagram, and I just, I'm going to have a Bandcamp thing that's going to open in about a week. It'll be under Electrofunkadelica. There's an Electrofunkadelica Instagram. There's also a Shaunna Hall one, but Electrofunkadelica is kind of my musical moniker these days. So I can't wait to someday be in your print version. You
were in the earlier one. You were.
Oh, that's right. I almost forgot.
You forgot.
I forgot because there's the online version of it. So.
Oh yeah.
But I have my.
Yeah.
I got my copy.
Thank you, hun. Mr. Bob Weir, shout out. Hello, sir. And that's a good. Well, it'll already be hot off the press by the time people see this video. So.
Yeah, man, and yeah. So hopefully,
probably say Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, everybody.
I'll say, man, have a Happy New Year. Remember, like life goes in cycles.
Yeah.
And you just got to keep moving forward. And
we're getting our second wind, right?
We'll have our second wind. We'll be doing things that, I looked back over last year. It just seems like such a hard year, I mean, harder than 2020. And but I made a list of goals, you know, as sort of an exercise. And then I took this class, and anyway, I found the list the other day, and it was like, I'll be darned, I pretty much nailed it. Like, you know, like, yeah, it's kind of weird. Like, you don't realize it, but as long as you're putting one foot in front of the other, you're doing something.
Yeah.
And you might think you're taking forever, or it's not going the way you thought it would, but when in
And
hindsight, you're like,
it probably
"Look how-"
definitely is not going the way you thought it would ever, you know?
not always, but the funny thing is that as far as reaching those goals,
Yeah.
I pretty much am, you know, I'm doing what I want to do. I'm making,
Yeah, I concur. I feel you. I'm feeling you. I agree. That's the
yeah,
energy, man.
yeah,
It's,
man.
you
Yeah, and
got,
you too. I mean, you're doing your thing, and
it's weird. It's all just sort of lining up, and, you know, things are starting to happen. Like you said, it's just kind of like the more you're doing what you do, it all just sort of rolls along, kind of like the footage you do.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like the law of attraction, or whatever you want to call it, or as a man thinketh,
Dancing, the
you know,
dance.
you
Yeah.
want to, but you want to focus on what you want and not what you don't want.
Yes,
And that I
exactly.
think is really like the critical key
Yeah,
element to happy life. You know, like, what do you want? Concentrate on that and forget the rest.
totally. Love you, Shaunna Hall. We'll see you Friday.
Love you too,
All
man.
right. All
All right.
right.
Thanks,
See,
Linda.
love you.
Love you
Ciao.
too.
Ciao.